minutes to just like
brainstorm like any ideas you have like for like an app idea that you would want to pitch like to the market and just how you would go about
yeah.
describing it.
I guess if you're having trouble, just
It's fine. Just take your time, think. It also doesn't have to be super practical. It could just be like something fun.
yeah, it could be fun too.
Yeah. Like you could think of like some sort of like game. You could make an app for an icebreaker, for example. Um, like to make it easier to organize like socials, things like that. Yeah, just think of like a few ideas. Like it doesn't have to be like tangible yet. I guess we could go, or I could go first, like if, like just to give you guys more time. So like an app idea I had in the past is some sort of safety app where if there's some sort of like natural disaster or some sort of incident, you could quickly just tap like a button and it'll automatically call the police and report exactly where you're located, and then the police will be able to respond quickly. Because we know in situations like if there's, for example, an active shooter or something like that, it's very hard to call like 911 because you'd notify your presence to like whoever's like causing trouble. So then if you're able to simply just tap a button and then have some sort of confirmation that's silent and quick, I feel it would be a lot easier for the police to respond quickly. So that's an app idea like I had in the past.
Mine would. Well, living on the hill, laundry machines break all the time, and just generally doing laundry can be a hassle. So, if there was a way to, I guess, I mean, this would involve some hardware too, I guess, but like tracking the status of the laundry machines to see whether they're full or not, or like people are using them, plus like whether they're broken or not, so you don't have to like take your laundry down and realize everything's full and then truck back up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't know. I like listening to classical music, and there are times like I just don't know it. And there's Shazam for like lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, what about Shazam for like classical music or like jazz music?
Yeah.
Cause like right now, like I'm listening to them, like I have no clue what this piece is, but I would like to know. Yeah, so I have to ask them. But I'd rather just like.
I'm guessing it's not Mozart.
Yeah.
I do the classical Mozart. That's all I know.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Do you actually want to know what it is?
Sure, yeah.
Why not?
Chopin's First Ballade.
Okay. Thank you. See,
Nice.
like this, yeah. But
That
depends.
can be our app.
Yeah. Your turn.
Me? Okay, I'm going to use this what approach that I learned in Albert's little leadership workshop. And so my why is I want people to know about the popular spots around the city, like places to eat, places to check out, while also having a good way to access reviews
Nice.
that are based on that are
Like popular.
that are review based that are popular, yeah.
Okay,
Reviews
so not like Yelp, where
that
like.
are approved, yeah.
Okay.
And so how I'm going to do this is that I will develop an app that'll provide it'll basically be a navigational map style app that'll allow you to look at places that are popular, and also like if you want to just get a list and see what's trending.
Oh, nice.
Basically to also check what's trending, like what places are trending around. And yeah.
That would be a cool app to just use like whenever, especially if you're new to a city, and then you could just see what's going on, like
Right.
what's popular.
And I other characteristics like if it's a busy place that sometimes, or if it's like quite in general,
Yeah.
like prices and whatnot.
Nice, nice.
So I would really like an app that goes more specific than Google Maps. Say if I was looking for a classroom, Google Maps would just tell me where the building is.
Yeah.
I got very lost like after I got inside the building before too, so I mean it'd be cool. I don't know how possible it is, but to just have an app to guide you actually
Yeah, that would definitely be useful on a lot of college campuses, like especially for like the new first year or transfer students.
Oh man.
Yeah.
First time I class in Kinsey.
Yeah.
Alright. So I guess that concludes our icebreaker. Thank you. Those were
A
some
lot of
pretty
good ideas, yeah.
I like them. So announcements real quick. So at some of you were at open board meeting. But basically we decided to shift, basically not print out to yearbook, because only 10 people bought it last year, so it really wasn't worth the effort. It was $25 for a yearbook, and so we felt that it wasn't worth the effort if so few people were going to buy it. So we're making basically an online version of it now. That'll be probably its own website. So that should be easier to do because we can, like, the photos and stuff will be native, and it'll be like more well suited to how most people were viewing it, which was like the free PDF of the yearbook. So having a website would be better than printing something out. So yeah, that's just an update.
Also serve to conserve.
Yeah, true. It's a lot of paper.
Cool. I don't really have announcements on my part, so we could go on to the actual workshop. So yeah, on the doc there is the link to the Prezi, so let's follow that. Are you guys able to see like the Prezi okay?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Alright, so today's workshop is about developing an app idea. So all three of you have thrown out a lot of really good ideas for apps. And the principle of just coming up with the app is pretty much what you guys did. So the first step is to figure out the use case of the app. So there are three main questions you probably want to ask yourself when you're thinking of an app idea. First off, why do you want to make the app in the first place? What purpose will it serve? And who is the intended audience for the app? Because you want to figure out what exactly the app is supposed to do and why people would want to download the app in the first place. So that's the first step, figuring out exactly what your app is for. All right, so step two, more specifically, why do you want to build the app? There are usually a lot of reasons for building apps. Some of the most common ones are it's fun to build apps. Like you get to see your idea come to life and be used on multiple mobile devices throughout the world. It provides utility for a lot of people. Like apps could provide like happiness, satisfaction, enjoyment. Like when you're going on like Facebook, for example, you get to see like what your friends are doing. You get to post status updates, and then you get to just stay in touch with the rest of social media. If you're using Uber, you're able to get to a place faster. You could call like any of the Uber drivers to take you where you want. So then that'll provide satisfaction to get to your destination. And those are just like a few examples of like common utility for people. Building apps is also a good learning experience because you get to learn a lot of the different frameworks for app development. So for example, Android has a developer kit that has a bunch of different packages inside that enable it to do different features of app development. For example, there's like a map kit where you could use built-in like Google Maps to figure out location. You could also create like table views, which enables you to store information like table cells and organize it like that. iOS is very similar as well. You have things like progress bars, like these things called picker views where you could select values. So it's a good learning experience because there's always something, I feel, that's something new to learn whenever you're developing an app. It's also good for building up a resume, like if you wanted like a cool project to work on. Building an app it's not a trivial thing. Like it takes a lot of time and effort. And it's something that you should be proud of. So it's something you could put on your resume if you're applying to like a job or internship or things like that. So that's definitely something to consider. And then the last common reason is like a lot of people are professional app developers. They make money off the apps that they put on the app, and the App Store and the Google Play Store. So some people make profit off their apps. So that's another incentive to go into mobile app development. Next, the what part of it. So what exactly are some of the topics that you could go into for app development? Some of the there are a lot of use cases for apps. Some of the common ones are games like Flappy Bird, Fruit Ninja, things like that. There's social networking apps such as Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, music apps. You could go on Spotify, health and fitness. You could keep track of like your activity. Yeah, exactly. Finance apps, so you could look at like stocks if you're into that. Medical apps, news, and many more different categories of apps. So the app development world is virtually limitless. Like there's always like some kind of use case like for anything you could possibly imagine. So it's just a matter of like figuring out what you want to do and just isolating whatever your target focus of the app is. So that's the third step. The fourth step is figuring out who to market your app to. So it's like this is the part where you figure out your intended audience. So I would classify apps into like a more niche category versus a more generalized audience. So for niche apps, they're aimed at a specific group of people. So for example, let's see, what's a good example?
Pinterest.
Pinterest, yeah. If you're really into like certain things people have in common, you could just like put pins, like share pins of certain things. So then it's aimed at a specific group of people like who are more into that versus like people who are just look at things in general. They're not really a big follower of like certain pins on Pinterest. So it's a bit harder to get people to adopt it in general because of like conceptions of what the apps do. But the people who do tend to stay on tend to be stronger followers. Like a lot of people who use Pinterest are active users. So you're more likely to have these active users using your app. Whereas if you have a more generalized app, it's aimed at a wider variety of people. So you're more likely to get people to initially download it. And the only problem is that user retention can generally be a problem. So I guess like the case in point for this, I would think, is Pokemon Go, because initially in the first month, like there were a ton of users who signed up to download the app, try it out and see how it was. And unfortunately, because of some issues like with like programming bugs and just inconvenience in general, a lot of people just like fell off and stopped using the app. So it's sort of like a trade-off between like if you want to go to a more niche audience versus a more generalized one. There are exceptions to every rule, but this is just something to consider. Who do you want to market your app to? And so yeah, that's something to keep in mind. All right, so the fifth step is, yeah, the part of getting ideas. So the best question to ask yourself in this case is, would you use the app you made? So in general, the best end user to think of is yourself. Yeah, the question I would always try to ask is, would I personally like to use the app I've made? Like, what purpose would it serve, like myself or like friends, family, things like that? So you want to think of common use cases in your life because people will tend to have similar interests to you. So if you're willing to use the app, then other people, more likely than not, will also have an interest of using your app. And then another good way to get ideas for app development is networking with other people and asking for feedback on some of your app ideas. A lot of the app ideas you came up with were really good. If you wanted to, you could probably just share it with like other people and then get more feedback on if they think it's plausible, like how long it would take to build the app and things like that. So it's really important to draw on life experience and like ask the opinions of like friends, family, and things like that. So step 6 is more of the actual development tools you would build the app with. So we're not going to go into too much detail regarding this, but this is just like a general overview if you want to look more into it. So for the iOS platform, the two major programming languages are Swift and Objective-C. I personally feel Swift is easier to learn in terms of syntax, and it's a lot more beginner friendly in my opinion. Objective C, it's older than Swift, so then and also the syntax is kind of weird to be honest. So I would recommend just starting off with Swift first off, and to develop for iOS, you probably need to use Xcode, which is unfortunately only available for macOS. But there are ways to get this using Windows. If you have like a virtual machine, it's called sort of like a Hackintosh. So then you could download the OS X environment and just work with that. Android's a bit more versatile. The main language that Android uses is Java, and there are two main IDEs an IDE is an integrated development environment. So this is where you would develop your app in. So there are two main IDEs for Android. You have Eclipse and you have Android Studio. I personally feel Android Studio is a little easier to use. Initial setup is hard, as Jonathan knows, but I don't know. I just personally feel like once you get Android Studio set up, it's just a lot more user friendly than Eclipse. Eclipse is, I found it kind of
Eclipse can,
yeah, it's kind of cumbersome. If you guys try it, but yeah, that's just my personal opinion on that. And then nowadays you have tools that allow you to develop cross-platform apps a lot more easily. So you have things like React Native, Xamarin, which is written in the programming language C#, and you also have this thing called PhoneGap. So my general recommendation would be to develop for the operating system that you use on your current phone. So if you have like an iPhone, I'd recommend learning iOS first if you have a Mac. Otherwise, then you could go into like Android development first. Or going the cross-platform route, because a lot of apps are using like React Native now because it just shortens the development time by a lot. So that's my recommendation. Either go cross-platform or work with your operating system of your current phone model. Oh, one more thing to keep in mind, I guess, like if you're going into like game development, that's when I would generally recommend going into native development, meaning you would make separate apps for the iOS and Android version. Because if you're making like a game, it's very important for the game to be fast, and I think that's where some of the trade-offs of using cross-platform tools comes into play. Because I feel, or from what I've heard online, cross-platform tools tend to be slower, but it is shorter development time. So that's just something to keep in mind. So if you're trying to create like just a social media app where it's not that important to get results fast, then you might want to use like a cross-platform tool like React Native. Otherwise, I would go the native route and split up into two apps. All right, so step 7 is the process of releasing your app. So once you've fully developed like your app idea and created the actual product for it, you want to get it out to the public. So for the two main operating system platforms, you have the App Store and you have the Google Play Store. So it's a slightly different process for releasing the app on both of them. For the App Store, it costs about $99 a year to get a developer account, which is kind of honestly a ripoff in my opinion, but yeah. For the App Store, it usually takes 1 to 2 days to get your app approved. And it used to be a lot longer. It used to take like about a week to 2 weeks, but Apple's really sped it up a lot in the past, I think, year. And the standards of getting the app released are a bit stricter because it's more tightly regulated. Like they want to make sure that like there are no bugs in your app, it doesn't crash too often, things like that. So for the Google Play Store, it's a $25 one-time fee, which is really nice in my opinion. Upload time actually takes about 2 to 3 hours from what I've read online. I don't have personal experience with Play Store, but it's a lot faster. And I've heard it's a bit easier to get the app released as well. So that's something to keep in mind. If you really want to get like the app out to market really quickly, probably Android would be a good fit. Otherwise, The reason a lot of people develop for iOS first is because I've heard you get to keep more of the profits of iOS app development. Like apparently you get to keep I think 70% of whatever revenue you make, and then Apple takes 30% of the rest. I'm not sure how it is for Android, but I've heard that's the main reason people would pick iOS over Android. All right. So sort of a bonus step is pitching your app idea. So let's say like you have your app idea, you've released it to like the market, and you really want to get it off the ground. So some of the things of if you want to create like a startup out of your mobile app idea, you would probably want to look into like venture capitalists, like finding like an angel investor to really back your app idea. So like I don't have any personal experience behind for this, but there's a lot of sites online where you can look up venture capitalists and like who are looking for the next big thing, and then it's just a matter of like pitching your app idea and why it's going to be like the next superstar app. Like so that's something to look into. And the other things to look into are like startup incubators. So you have Y Combinator, which is like a major startup incubator in Silicon Valley. So they've been responsible for a lot of the booming startups like Dropbox, for example. They've all sprung up out of Y Combinator. So it's if you're able to get your app idea like to Y Combinator, you're in really good shape. And more locally, we have Startup UCLA and Blackstone Launchpad. I'm actually not too sure the distinction, but both of them provide like a lot of accelerator services for your app idea. So like a few of them that that came out of Startup UCLA are like Flux. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's like a very thin phone charger. So like that's one of the app ideas there, and also Playful actually is based off of Startup UCLA. Like they're getting a lot of funding from them, so that's pretty cool as well. So yeah, startup incubators are another route to go if you want to go into entrepreneurship. And then the last way is probably like out of pocket costs. Like this is probably not recommended because I've read a statistic like 1 out of 10, actually probably more than that. Like the vast majority of startups fail. So you really don't want to be like part of that statistic because you're going to lose a lot of money in the long run if you're just pulling everything out of your pocket. So you want probably someone to invest in your idea. All right, so that's most of it, like at a high level. If you guys have any questions, yeah, just let me know. All right. So I guess we could go like to the websites of the week. So the first one is a website about like really good app ideas that could potentially quote make you rich. So these are just like some app ideas that are getting thrown around. Some of them are pretty interesting. I read one at the bottom that was kind of cool. Oh yeah, the rare animal one. Like if you're like really big into like going on safaris and stuff, that would be pretty cool. Yeah, and the thing about these is like not all of them are like really serious. Some of them are pretty lighthearted. So it's just like a matter of like the app providing like enjoyment to the user. Like it doesn't have to be like too serious of an app. And then yeah, so the next one like of an uploaded app, I was able to upload like one of my apps recently. Like it's just a utility app. So it's just like a matter of like really wanting to get your app done first, and then pushing it out into the public. So that's like an example of like the process of getting an app uploaded to like the App Store, for example. So that yeah.
Alright, so the design of the week is Slack. If you haven't used Slack before, it's like, I mean, honestly, it's really just like fancy chat channels, but they've made it work for a lot of groups and ACM, I think
Mhm.
has a Slack.
ACM has a Slack.
Foundations Leadership has a Slack, I think. A lot of companies and organizations are using it to communicate with each other professionally. And it's just it's really useful in that like it's professional communication, but it's done in a manner that we're all used to communicating in, which is just like casually chatting each other. So it's just the design of Slack is really clean, and what's more important is that it's friendly. So like there are like little jokes usually for like loading messages.
Yeah.
And
People could just like post them and
yeah, and like you can react with emojis. So in general, it's a very welcoming app, and I think that's really important because like this really wasn't a market. This wasn't like Slack. I mean, I guess before Slack, like people didn't really consider like communication necessarily being marketed as okay, I'll just email you or something, right? But because of like the design is a big part of it and the way they've made it so easy to use, that's really helped. They're worth a lot of money now,
yeah.
and that shows that there are a bunch of like competitors to Slack now, but the design of Slack and its like ease of use is really what gets it ahead. So that's important to keep in mind with apps.
Yeah. Slack also like provides these things called Slack bots where you can like automate like your own like instant like messenger thing. It'll just like automatically respond to certain queries.
Yeah.
So that's pretty fun. Like it's just a cool feature they have.
Alright, so we have any open forum items from anyone?
I do need blood.
Oh, nice.
How much? Actually, did
That's
they
just
tell you?
at the time.
Okay.
I feel like if I don't need more, I would be able to like leave the chair.
Yeah. Do they give you like what's it called like rewards like movie tickets
Yeah,
or
so I
stuff?
got a movie ticket.
Oh, nice. Some pretty cool movies out right now. You guys go to the Hidden Figures?
No, I didn't.
I wanted to watch it.
Yeah. Same. Oh, really? Oh yeah, you mentioned yeah.
Good or bad interesting?
Good.
Okay.
I've heard real-
because I've been asking physically good.
I've heard
Exactly.
I've heard really good things about it.
So I just have one action item, which is the week 6 GM data, which is pretty far ahead. It's 16th, so it'd be due the 9th, February 9th. And the theme is plaid. It's just plaid. It's just
Straight up like plaid.
like dress up in plaid. Yeah. It's a pretty simple banner to do, I think. So maybe you are interested.
Dude.
Yeah, I'll put you down. Awesome. Alright, yeah, so does anybody else have ranks?
I guess I have one. Like so, like literally today was the first time in since fall quarter that I've had headphones. So I went to the career fair and I got this from IXL.
Oh.
So this is really cool because like I've literally been without headphones since I lost mine in fall.
I didn't
No,
realize they
that's
had headphones.
Yeah.
Take this off.
I have an extra one if you want.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like I need this
There you go. God.
Was you still for the free stuff?
pretty much. Don't tell anyone.
I mean, because anyone can, like, you don't have to be an engineering major to swipe in.
Technically, yeah. You just need to be a
So-
UCLA student.
You could go. I mean, I think I saw one girl today who was like, his econ, I think, and she was just going around. She was pretty smart, I guess. She was talking about sales things.
Nice.
Yeah, but if you want this stuff, the fairs are generally a good way to get them. It's companies.
Companies get
Swag.
all free swag. Yeah.
You can literally fill your wardrobe up with like just career fair stuff.
Like if you need pens too.
Yeah. They also have these like cool charger things. Like I don't know if I still have mine, but it's like you want it? I have a few so right now. They give out USBs too.
Who uses a USB though?
That's true. Cloud. Where is it? I'll let you know if I
A for
find it.
effort. A for forever with the USB.
Yeah. You want one of these?
Oh wait, no, I don't need
They
those.
have
That's like
actual
a.
chargers.
I thought
Like-
I thought you meant like a battery pack. Like,
Oh
I
no,
need
no,
those.
that would be great.
That'd be
Unfortunately.
sick. I have 2 mini charging cables.
Yeah.
So I'm good.
It's gonna be the same thing tomorrow.
There's gonna be like different companies, but like the idea is the same. Yeah.
What time is it?
Oh my god.
It's 10 to 3 in afternoon.
Yeah. Grand volume. Yeah.
I don't pass by. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I
That's
don't
it.
pass by there when I go back up to the hill. Wait, doing plaza?
Yeah, I'm doing Plaza.
But I don't. I feel like
Oh, nice.
I have a lecture in Fowler, so I just take
Oh,
up,
that's
like,
the other way. Yeah.
so I just take that up to. And I live in Hendrick, so I'm not gonna like make my route longer.
Uh,
I'm sorry, babe. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. The only like if you guys were planning on going to the career fair, the only thing is the line's like hella long at the beginning, but then it starts to clear out like within the first hour. So
Because I start getting their swag and they leave.
yeah. So if you wanted to go, I would recommend going 11, 12,
Yeah,
like
11 or
midway
12.
between it, and by then like most of the companies will still be there, and then there's no line, so you can just start talking to people.
I mean, some of the bigger companies might still have lines, but
Yeah.
it'll be better.
Yeah.
Um, I
So
don't
there's a line at each booth, and then if you want to talk to them, you have to wait there.
Yeah.
it's like,
Oh.
they're like
okay.
recruiters from each company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is everyone dressed up there?
It's a good amount. Yeah. Generally, it's formal to semi-formal wear.
I mean, like generally, like these 2 days are the engineering ones, so they're not as intense. I know
Yeah.
on yesterday night there was like the entertainment networking night.
Yeah.
I was just walking by, and everybody for that one was really dressed up.
Super fancy.
I don't feel like having friends.
You guys don't have big guns?
My bathroom is warm now. It's
Oh,
weird
nice.
'cause- okay, so
The
like
bathroom?
people complain that the bathroom is too cold, and then
Okay.
they like turn on the heat.
the bathroom?
Yeah,
Wow.
Is this the hall? Or?
yeah.
Oh.
So I mean, yeah, they listen to us.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah,
You have a good RA.
yeah. What else?
Braden, John, any?
So I guess we adjourn this meeting.
Yeah.
At 8:47 p.m.
Yeah, the one thing we forgot to do last week was like if you guys had any recommendations for like workshops for next week, just let us know. Yeah, because we forgot to ask, and then so we had to come up with one. You guys have any recommendations right now?
I don't know. Photoshop? I feel like people would like want to know how to Photoshop or like maybe Lightroom. 'Cause, like with social media being like such a big thing, I feel like
Sure.
that'd be important.
Yeah.
More memes.
Oh,
I
no.
don't know. More memes.
We had a so Calvin Ha
I had a
did,
Lightroom one,
yeah.
or like a
If-
maybe just like a Photoshop one, like really basic.
uh,
Yeah.
do you think you know how to do?
Yeah, we can do a Photoshop workshop.
Oh,
Yeah. Let me actually reserve reserve the room for next week.
yeah, because next week it would be important to be able to see the monitor. Yeah.
So we're gonna 8.
Oh man.
Unless.
I think 8:30 is still considered evening for them.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay, let me see if the map has anything open. Hydra?
Oh yeah, Hedrick, the study has monitors.
Ooh. Oh yeah, they do.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. We were the study. The study has rooms, but it's like the VGA. Raj explained it to me. Like
Oh
it
yeah,
wasn't
that's hard.
So.
You need the adapter. I think. Wait, doesn't Catherine have it?
Yeah.
That was supposed to have it either. Raj was
Yeah.
like, that's VGA. I'm like, oh.
That's actually fine because Catherine has an adapter that we could borrow.
I mean, if I look at
Okay. So do we want 161,
Yeah,
162, or
I
163?
think this is HDMI.
It really doesn't matter.
Alright, we'll choose the first one.
So it's gonna be 162,
161.
161. Okay. So Hedrick study lounge,
Yeah.
study room,
Okay.
161. Alright.
Yeah.
Unless I'm down here already.
Okay, cool.
Alright, sounds good. Thank you guys so much for coming.
Yeah.
Hopefully, like you guys have more app ideas that you guys can come up with, and hopefully make it into reality.
Yeah.
I'm too serious.
I mean,
Thank you for having the
yeah.
hope. Thank you for having the hope.
You don't have to, like, sometimes having the idea can just, like, even if you're not a big coder or programmer, just, like, having the idea and then, like, maybe, like, finding someone who you know can code.
Yeah.
Basically find the
It's mostly you just need the idea as like the catalyst to like start things off, and then afterwards it's just a matter of like building it out. Like making apps isn't like it's not trivial. Like it takes a lot of time. Like Facebook wasn't made in a day.
And also, don't forget that, like, apps, like, there's a lot to making an app successful. Like, you can have a great app, but you also need people supporting it that aren't necessarily CS people, business and marketing and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of roles that come into play, like in terms of whether an app becomes successful or not. So, as long as it's a fun experience, like I think that matters more than anything else. All right.